Yes, sir. Your name is?
My name is Gonzalo Ramesh.
Gonzales.
Yes.
Gonzales.
Gonzalo. Gonzalo.
Gonzalo.
Gonzalo.
What part of the world are you from?
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Central America.
I see.
Yes,
I
yes,
see.
sir.
So you were here yesterday.
I was here yesterday, yeah.
You have no problem with the English language?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that we
So
could-
you heard what I had to say yesterday.
I heard everything, I understand everything.
So is there any reaction? Do you have any questions?
I was wondering, like,
Please.
how is it that there is like two kinds of understanding that come together that I can see? It's like, you know, you understand intellectually something and you understand how it is. Like you were yesterday talking about how is it that everything is the will of God, and to me it makes a lot of sense on my intellect. Yeah, it has to be something like that, okay? But at the same time, I was questioning myself, doesn't it need to be a realization of this? Doesn't it need to happen some kind of inner understanding, very deep understanding, so that you can accept that this is the will of God? Or do you have to accept this as a theory, just an intellectual understanding, and then a realization will come later on? This is the thing that I don't really grasp at it, because for me, maybe I am totally wrong, probably I am totally wrong. I always conceive that it has to be some kind of real deep understanding, and then of course out of that you will accept that everything is the will of God. But to just by understanding intellectually and just every day just saying, well, this is the will of God, yeah, well, this is the will of God, it's kind of more like outside understanding and not very like inner.
What it really means is extremely simple. And that is what happens in daily living. Gonzalo, what is the very basis of the mechanism of daily living? What do you understand by daily living? Daily living means, obviously, every human being at any time and place is facing a situation. Daily living, for me, the mechanism of daily living begins when every human, anytime at any place, he faces a situation. The situation which a caveman felt 3,000 years ago will be different from the situation you and I may face. But as the basis of it, the fact is, the caveman faces a situation, you and I face a situation. And in that situation, both the caveman and you and I have to deal with that situation. That is the essence of the mechanism of daily living. So what does one do when one faces a situation? Whether it is a caveman or you and I. When we face a situation, what do we do? And that is daily living. What do we do? At that time, there is no question of what I believe in or what I don't believe in. See what I mean? There is no question of what my concept is about something. In a given situation, what does anyone do? Whether the caveman 3,000 years ago or Rodriguez, Gonzalo and me. What do we do as the basis of the mechanism of daily living? What do you do when you have to face a situation? Any situation. How do you face a situation? What is meant by a man facing a situation? How does he has to deal with that situation? Isn't that right? Therefore, my basic concept is daily living begins when every man has to deal with a situation. Isn't that right? Absolutely simplest fact. So dealing with a situation, what does Gonzalez do? How does he deal with the situation? How does Gonzalez deal with the situation he finds himself? He can only do two things. In that situation, what do I want? Isn't that right? In that situation, what do I want? And I do whatever I feel I should do in order to get what I want. Isn't that right? No complication. Simplest thing. And that is what we deal with in daily living. Gonzalez faces a situation, he does whatever he feels he should do in order to get what I want. That is when daily living begins. Having done whatever he wanted to do, what is Gonzalez's experience? Having done, he is facing a situation. Facing a situation means he has to decide what he wants and what he should do to get what he wants. And he has just done it. That is when daily living begins. And after that, what has been Gonzalez's actual experience in life? His actual experience in life is, having done whatever he wanted to do, the result of his action has never been in your control. And that is the case from the beginning of time. Every human being has had the total free will to do whatever he wants in a given situation, to get whatever he wants. Total free will. Thereafter, everybody's experience is that the result of his action has never ever been in his control. Sometimes Gonzalez has got what he wanted, sometimes Gonzalez has not got what he wanted, and sometimes what Gonzalez got was beyond expectation. Many times for the worse, sometimes for the better. Decided by whom? Decided by the society. Then, whatever happens, the society in which you live cannot know what you have done, cannot know your intention. The society in which you live can only accept what has actually happened. One of three things over which you have no control, and your action. Judge it as good or bad, reward you or punish you. Reward from the society means pleasure, punishment from the society means pain. And that has been the mechanism of daily living for the human being for hundreds of years. Every human being is free to do whatever he wants, whether it results in pleasure or pain, depending on the society's reward or punishment, has never ever been in anyone's control. See what I mean? This is the very basis of daily living. No philosophy concerned here. The actual basis of facts. This is daily living. In other words, what it means is, the human Gonzalez does have total free will to do what he wants in any given situation. To do something positive or not to do anything. Therefore, when we talk of daily living, we have to assume that every human being has total free will to do anything he wants in that situation. But the result is not in my control. The society judges that result one of three things over which I have no control as my action, judges it as good or bad, rewards me or punishes me. Reward means pleasure, punishment means pain. The whole circle is complete until another situation arises and the whole circle again happens. Isn't that right? Therefore, what does this mean? It means only one thing. From the beginning of time, every human being has always had the total free will to do whatever he or she wants, without which life would not have happened. But everybody's experience in life is that free will is worthless in practice. I do have free will to do whatever I want. But if I cannot know whether what I do of my own free will bring me pleasure or pain, what is the value of my free will? Therefore, in an unavoidable conclusion, inevitable conclusion is, I do have free will, but it's worthless in practice. Isn't that right? I talk of daily living. Philosophy comes later. So therefore, what do I talk about? I talk about, to whom do I talk? I talk to someone who is here. Whoever comes to me is someone reasonably comfortable in life, for which he has to be grateful to God. And he comes to me with the total understanding. Whether he realizes or not, the total understanding is, I am reasonably comfortable in life, for which I am grateful to God. I am forced to live my life in the circumstances in which I have been placed. I am forced to deal with a situation, and when I have dealt with it, I can never know whether what I did will bring me pleasure or pain. If it's pleasure, I have to enjoy it. If it's pain, I have to suffer it. So far, Gonzales had no independence at all, no freedom at all. Isn't that right? And also, similarly, you cannot know what the next moment will bring, pleasure or pain. You cannot know the total amount of pleasure and pain you have to experience in life. That also nobody knows. And my point is, my concept is, everything is predetermined. That is my concept. The moment a conception takes place, the destiny of that conception begins. And whatever is going to happen to that conception has already been predetermined. By whom? By God, or according to the cosmic law. Whether that it will be born or not, or whether it will be miscarried or destroyed, or if it does get born as a baby, if the conception, the destiny of the conception is to be born, then what happens, how long that born baby will last, how long it will live, how his life will end, natural causes, murder, accident or suicide, and during the lifetime, whatever is going to happen to that born human being at any time is already predetermined. And that is the life we are forced to live. Isn't that right? So if you had the choice, would you choose to be born in these circumstances? We have had no choice. Yes, sir, Scott.
Yeah, I was just wondering, okay, this entity is born, the purpose of life for that entity. Actually, I would just, your concept on what the actual individual really wants in life, what they want. What are we all actually seeking?
One word, Scott, one word. In these circumstances,
Yep.
all of it means the very basis of daily living is uncertainty.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what is going to happen next moment. In such circumstances, when you are born, you have no control over it. So once you are born, until you die, what do you want in life?
Exactly. Yep.
That is the focal I am talking about.
Yep.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I want pleasure in life, no control. I want to play all the time playing, no, impossible. Therefore, in these circumstances, the basis of which is total uncertainty about anything in life, what you want is happiness.
Yeah.
One word you have to use is happiness.
So every single person on the planet really wants just to be happy.
Therefore, the most important point is, what does in these circumstances, which clearly mean life is like being in prison.
Yep.
Isn't that right? I am born in certain circumstances over which I have no control. I am supposed to live my life in those circumstances. I have no control over what result my action will bring, pleasure or pain. I have no control over the total amount of pleasure and pain I am going to experience. In these circumstances, which really means being in a prison. So, having to live my life in this prison, what is the happiness I want? What is the happiness I can have? That is the focal point I am talking about. No philosophy yet. No spiritual point yet. Totally practical. You see? And my grievance about spiritual seekers who advertise in the paper, so and so speaking at such and such, all are invited. Chapter 13 of the Gita, chapter 9 of the Gita.
So Ramesh, you're saying that even though you come to this understanding that in life is uncertain, you have no control over what is going to happen next.
Yes.
So in a sense, you are in a prison. So you're saying it's possible to be happy in prison. That's what you're saying.
Therefore,
it's possible to be happy in prison.
Yes.
Yeah.
Therefore, most important point, to be happy in this prison of life, I have to accept that I am living in a prison. The most important thing is
But that
to
doesn't
accept that I am living in a prison. Therefore, to expect that I'll have no pain, only pleasure, is downright stupid.
Frustrating. Yeah.
Isn't that right?
But you wouldn't be pessimistic about life though. You wouldn't think pain's going to be happening all the time.
So whether you will be pessimistic or not, again, is it in your control?
Yeah, true.
Nobody
Right.
chooses to be a pessimist.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be an optimist.
True.
But since the very basis of the manifestation and its functioning of life that we call, functioning of the manifest that we call life, is duality. That is another point about the prison we live in.
But what about this happiness? That's really the core, isn't it? The happiness, even though you accept you're living in this prison, everything's uncertain in life, how do you be happy? How can you be happy all the time, constantly?
Therefore, what is the focal question?
How to be happy?
Yes, but you know that you have to know that happy. I want to have no pain. Then I'll be happy. But you can't. You're in a prison.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
Yeah.
Therefore, the most important thing to understand is that I am in a prison, and in a prison, I have really no choice about. Therefore, my main grievance about life is I want pleasure all the time, no pain.
Yeah.
But I still have to suffer pain. I don't want that.
That causes problems.
Therefore, the most important thing to understand is that the very basis of daily living is duality, beginning with male and female. Everything in life, beginning with male and female, everything is a duality. There is nothing, a duality of every conceivable kind. Male and female, wealth and poverty, health and disease, good deeds and bad deeds, good people and bad people, healthy children and handicapped children.
And each duality.
Therefore, in order to be happy, I don't want any children to be born handicapped, stupid.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to be below the poverty line, stupid.
Yeah. There has to be both there. Has to be poverty, there has to be richness.
That is the way the things are. That is part of being in prison.
Yeah.
Therefore, in deciding what do I want as happiness, we have to accept. As happiness, there are certain things I cannot have. I'm in a prison. There are certain things I cannot have. I cannot demand that only good people be born. I cannot demand that everybody should be reasonably comfortable in life. I cannot demand that I have pleasure most of the time and no pain. And this, unfortunately, is a basic fact which people don't realize. And therefore, thinking they are seeking happiness, what they are seeking is pleasure, more pleasure, no pain. See what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the basic fact of life. Why people are unhappy. People don't realize that we are forced to live our life in what is obviously a prison. And living in that prison, I have to accept first that I can never know what the next moment will bring, pleasure or pain. Therefore, saying, in order to be happy, I want pleasure most of the time, stupid. And that is what most people are unhappy for, because they are stupid. They don't realize the basic fact of life. People are unhappy because they don't realize the basic fact of life, that we are living in a prison. Therefore the question, the most important question is, I have to accept, I have no control whether the next moment will bring me pleasure or pain. Therefore it's inviting frustration to expect at any time that the next moment will bring me pleasure. Therefore it means at any time I must be prepared to accept pain or pleasure as it happens. And this is what people forget. And from a child, therefore my point is, from the moment a baby is born and seeks its mother's breast intuitively, my firm acceptance is, the purpose and meaning of human life is only to be happy. Whatever the philosophers may say, for me that's all rubbish. My point is, from the moment the baby is born and seeks his mother's breast intuitively, the whole purpose of life is to be happy. For the baby, mother's milk is happiness. For the growing child, going to school, happiness means success in the classroom, success in the playing field. And every child knows. Sometimes she wins, sometimes she fails. But without realizing this, the child wants to succeed all the time and come to the top of the world. He'll be frustrated.
But your children have all been quite academically successful.
But the point is,
Yep.
many children, seeing that that is a fact, are not frustrated. Children are realistic people. They know that my parents want me to come first. But the child knows I just don't have the capacity to come anywhere higher than number 10. He accepts that. The parent doesn't accept it, therefore the parent is frustrated.
Yep.
The child knows. I don't have the intelligence to go anywhere. If I come 10, I'll be happy. Similarly, there are so many other people, stronger, faster, that I can never hope to win every race. The maximum I can hope in a race to be number 6 or 7. He accepts that.
What about the child that's lazy, that's intellectually very, very clever, but just doesn't want to do the work, isn't interested in the work, doesn't grasp them?
No, we are now talking about a child.
Yeah.
His happiness is success in the classroom, success in the playing.
Yeah.
The child grows up into an adult, and the adult decides that his happiness means more pleasure, less pain. He knows that next is not in his control. But he says his happiness lies in, and therefore he pursues pleasures, knowing that that what happens is not in his control. Even with that, he pursues pleasures as happiness. And therefore most people remain frustrated, because they are pursuing as happiness something which has never ever been in their control. See what I mean?
Yep.
That is the destiny of most people, to pursue pleasure as happiness, not get it, and remain frustrated, to live frustrated and die frustrated. That is their destiny according to God's will or cosmic law. But among those people reasonably comfortable in life, some luckier people like us who realize these basic facts that we have enumerated, who realize that life is more like being in a prison. Therefore, hoping for the goodies the people enjoy who are not in prison is stupid. Therefore, the most important thing for people like us to realize is that wanting more and more pleasure is not possible for me. But the important thing to realize is, I agree, there are some people who have more pleasure than I do. But the fact remains that they may have more pleasure than I have, but I have more pleasure than someone else. But even enjoying pleasure, and I know what pleasure is, even if I have more pleasure, it will still be pleasure, and I know what pleasure is. Therefore, the most important point, the most important step for someone like us, reasonably comfortable in life and reasonably intelligent, is to realize that by happiness we do not mean pleasure. Because I know what pleasure is, but pleasures have not brought me the happiness I am seeking. Therefore, the most important conclusion is the happiness I am seeking is not to be found in the flow of life. Flow of life can only mean pleasure or pain, and over which I have no control. And it is the most important conclusion, because thereafter, what I decide to do is, I know that my happiness does not depend on the flow of life, therefore it must depend in how I see life, in my attitude to life. So from an objective what is happening over which I have no control, I seek happiness within myself. I used to seek happiness in the outside life. Having realized the happiness I want does not consist in what happens in life, over which I have no control, but in my attitude to life. Next point, what do I mean by attitude to life? Not an easy question. Attitude to life, the whole phrase. What do I mean? I've thought a lot about it, and I've done a lot of thinking for you, lot of thinking, lot of misery. But believe me, the only answer is, what does a human being mean when he talks about attitude to life? He can only mean, he can think all he wants, but it can only mean my attitude to life means my attitude towards the other. Morning till night. Daily living means my relationship with the other. The other may be my father or mother or parent or a close relative or a neighbor or someone connected with my business or occupation, or a total stranger. Again, one of these basic uncertainties of life. Daily living means my relationship with the other, and like anything else, I cannot know who the other is going to be. Maybe a close relative, or someone connected with my business, or a total stranger. And that is what my day consists in, my relationship with the other. Next simple question. What has been my relationship with the other so far, which has not brought me the happiness I am seeking? See what I mean?
Yeah.
The conclusion I arrived at was that the happiness I am seeking is not to be found in the pleasures of life, but in my attitude to life. My attitude to life means my attitude towards the other. The other may be someone close to me or a total stranger. So when I say my relationship, it must include from the closest to the rarest. So next question is simple. What has been my attitude towards the other, whoever the other is, so far, which has not brought me the happiness I am seeking? I repeat again, totally practical thinking, about which you can question yourself at any moment. Not some philosophy or concepts in the air. Strictly day-to-day living. So in day-to-day living, I have final question I have come to is, what has been my attitude towards the other which has not brought me the happiness that I am seeking? If I know that, then I can go to the question, what should be my attitude towards the other which will bring me happiness? What has been my attitude towards the other so far which has not brought me the happiness? And the only answer, again, think all you want, the only answer is your relationship with the other has always been based on rivalry. Why? Because the conditioning every child has received at any home, at anywhere, at any time in the world has been, the training has been to treat the other as a rival. The child going to school, he is told, tomorrow you are going to school, you have a lot of responsibility. You must try to come to the top of the class. In the playing field you play not just to enjoy, but to win. In other words, the conditioning every child has received anywhere in the world at any time is, life is difficult. Life means competition. Life means suffering. Life means competition and fighting the other. Life means defeating the other. Life means winning over the other. In fact, life means pushing the other back at any time. Happiness means pushing the other back. The purpose of life is to push the other back.
And this is why there's always that lack of trust of the other, because you think they're going to do the same to you, sort of thing.
Naturally,
Yeah.
they are not going to be allowed to push. They will try to push you.
Yeah, yeah,
And the push can go to a shove.
yeah.
So the dead end which I arrive at is, every child has been conditioned to accept the other as a potential rival, and his duty in life is to defeat the other, conquer the other, win over the other. See, that has been the conditioning. And the only way I can be happy is if my relationship with the other is not based on rivalry. Most important conclusion you come to is, I am today not happy because my relationship with the other is based on potential rivalry, where someone known, and potential enmity where a stranger is there. I don't know whether he's going to be a friend or foe. And that is why I have not got my happiness. Therefore, the only way I can have my happiness is if I don't treat the other as a rival, and that is just not possible. Because whatever I want, he may want. Whatever I have, he will snatch it from me. So the conclusion he arrives at is, believe me, that's the conclusion I arrived at. in my own personal seeking is, it is stupid to want to be happy. Seeking happiness in life is stupidity. Because happiness depends on my relationship with the other being harmonious. What the religions have been telling people and no one has listened to them is, your happiness depends on universal brotherhood. Treating the other as not only as a brother, even brothers fight, as yourself. So the conclusion I came to, believe me, it's stupid to want to be happy. No human being can be happy. It is stupid to seek happiness in this prison. And therefore I decided, stupid to take the search further. And I surrendered the search. I surrendered my intellect. I said, I'm not going to waste my intellect anymore on this frustrating problem. I cannot be happy. That's it. And when I surrendered my intellect, again by the same grace of God, which has made me reasonably comfortable in life, I got the answer from outside, from the source. And that is great compassion. It's not as bad as that. You can be happy. There have been some comparatively few, but there have been people who have been happy even in this prison of life. And what is more, the reason for which they have been happy is precisely the reason I have come to, but it is possible. In fact, the answer that I got was, in fact, the way to be happy, is the basis of every religion. That is the answer I got. Then that God wants everybody to be happy. Therefore, the basis of every religion is to make the human being happy. But nobody listens to it. Nobody is prepared to accept it. That is why people, the human race, has chosen to be unhappy. The basis of every religion is to make you happy. But people have chosen to reject it, and therefore they have decided to be unhappy. That is the answer. So from that moment, earlier, frankly, I had decided, I thought about it a great deal, and I had come to the conclusion that there cannot be one basis for every religion. If there had been one, we wouldn't have had religious wars for hundreds of years. The fact that there have been religious wars for hundreds of years means there is no basis for every religion. But now I am told there is a basis, which I have to accept. So my search from then on began, what is the basis of every religion? From that moment, that was my direction of my seeking. What is the basis of every religion? And then I happened to come across the 4 words from the Bible. Simplest of words, no question of any division in meaning. The 4 words, thy will be done. 4 of the simplest words, thy will be done, means my will not be done. My will not happen. Not and your will. It can only mean nothing can happen unless it is God's will. Thy will be done. Nothing can happen unless it is God's will. Therefore, whatever the state the world has been at any time is precisely the way it is supposed to be according to God's will. And the basis of the manifestation is duality. Therefore, at any time in the world, there have been male and female, beautiful and ugly, wealth and poverty, health and disease. In what proportion? God's will, cosmic law. But the fact is that the way the world has been at any time, there is nothing wrong in it. There can never be anything wrong in it, because whatever is the world at any time is precisely the way it is supposed to be according to God's will, His will. Islam, I am told, has the same basis. The roots of both the religions are the same. In fact, the literal meaning of the word Islam, I am told, means surrender. Islam means surrender.
And also that saying inshallah or something like that, inshallah, God willing.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
So every Muslim repeats the word inshallah, inshallah,
God willing.
10 times in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And yet doesn't believe in it.
No, it must mean nothing to them.
And doesn't believe in it.
Yeah.
That's what the answer was. It was there, but you have rejected it.
Yeah.
The Hindu religion says the same thing, but in a more powerful way. Bible says, thy will be done. The Hindu religion says, thou art the doer and thou art the experiencer. Thou art the speaker and thou art the listener. It looks as if Ramesh is speaking and Gonzales is listening, or Scott is speaking, Ramesh is listening. It looks like it, but none of the three would have been able to speak or listen or do anything if they were in deep sleep or unconscious under sedation. They would not have been able to speak or listen or do anything if they were in deep sleep or unconscious under sedation. So what does it mean? Therefore, who does the speaking and the listening and everything? Consciousness.
And so you take consciousness as another word for
Consciousness is the source, God, another word for God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Consciousness, energy, awareness, whatever you call it, is the source. Therefore, consciousness as the source is what does the speaking through one human instrument and listening through another instrument. Speaking through one instrument, listening through another instrument. And at that point I had my basic concept, which has given me the happiness I am seeking. My basic concept has been everything in the world is a happening according to God's will, cosmic law. How each happening affects whom. It may hurt me and harm you, or help you and harm him. So how each happening affects whom is again according to God's will, cosmic law, and through which body-mind organism, through which person a happening happens, which the society considers your action or his action or mine, is also happening according to God's will, cosmic law. the human being is incapable of doing any deed. That was the concept I came to arrive at on my own thinking. And I shall be happy only if I am able to accept it totally. That no human being has the power to help anyone else. I don't have the power to hurt you, you don't have the power to hurt me. Therefore, strictly, I don't have to fear you, you don't have to fear me. Everything happens according to our destiny, God's will, cosmic law. And having accepted that, how have I got my happiness? What is the acceptance of this? How has the acceptance of this firm basis that everything is happening according to God's will, how each happening affects whom for better or worse, and through which person the happening happens, everything is according to God's will, cosmic law. The human being is incapable of doing anything. How has the total acceptance of that brought me the happiness I am seeking? The total acceptance of that, of this concept, has meant that I no longer have to carry the load of guilt and shame that I have had for hurting people, for hurting my closest relative. I don't have to carry the load anymore of hating others for hurting me. Previously, if I were hurt, what was my reaction? Very simple. He hurt me, I hate him. Now if I am hurt, what is my reaction? Equally simple but totally different. Now my reaction is, what has hurt me is a happening which has hurt me because it was supposed to hurt me according to my destiny, God's will, cosmic law. The happening which hurt me happened to happen through A. Whether it had happened to B, C, D, X, Y, Z, my hurt would be still the same. Therefore, with this understanding, the question of who has hurt me has become irrelevant, totally irrelevant. Stupid to say someone has hurt me. Even if he wanted to hurt me, he could not have hurt me if it were not my destiny, God's will, cosmic law, to be hurt. Whatever he might have done would have gone waste. In fact, whatever he had done to harm me might have done me some good. So with this total acceptance, what has happened is, I no longer carry the load of hatred for myself, for my actions, nor do I carry another heavier load for hatred for the other. And the absence of this hatred for myself and for the other has meant happiness in the form of peace of mind. In the form of peace of mind, which is the result of the end of suffering. This peace of mind is the result of the end of suffering. I didn't have to do anything. And what is the suffering which has ended? Hatred for myself and hatred for the other. So the only way the human being can be happy is to be able to accept totally. He doesn't have to fear the other doesn't have to fear you. Whether the other accepts that he has no reason to fear me is his destiny. But if I am able to accept totally, I have no need to fear anyone, I can be happy. And what more, the only way I can be happy is if I am able to accept totally that I don't have to fear the other. What do you think of this concept? Isn't it stupid? Is it not stupid? How can anyone accept that he doesn't have to fear me and I don't have to fear him? In fact, that concept has brought me the happiness I have in course of time. But at that moment, I myself thought it was an awfully stupid concept. Therefore, I kept it to myself. I didn't dare say it to the others. Why expose yourself as a damn fool? I kept that concept to myself until I realized that the great Buddha had the same concept in his own words. Sometime later I came across the Buddha's concept, same thing in his own words. Events happen, deeds are done, consequences happen, but there is no individual doer of any deed.
Wow.
My concept in my own word was nothing happens unless it is the will of God, through which body, mind, organism, the action happens, and how it affects whom is again according to God's will, because human being is incapable of doing anything. Buddha's word, events happen, deeds are done, consequences happen, but there is no individual. Exactly the same thing. From that moment on, I did not hesitate to pass on my concept, also telling them that it is also the Buddha's concept. See, if you think I'm stupid, you'll also have to admit the Buddha is stupid.
That's why you have Buddha here.
Not one, but that but all the Buddha people gave me. And there is one Buddha which came the most recent, was brought to me, very well, carefully packed. So when he removed it, was so carefully packed, I knew it was valuable. So I asked him, is it a valuable one? He said yes. So what did it cost? $1,000. I said, all right, I won't keep it out here, I'll keep it in my bedroom. And then my daughter came here, she liked it. I said, take it. But keep it in a safe place. Now, laughing like this, it doesn't mean we are happy. So we can be happy, there's no doubt about that. But now we are happy, we are laughing. Just at that moment, if a memory arises of what I did to someone close to me for which I have never been forgiven, or a memory arises over which I have no control, of something someone close to me did to me to hurt him for which I have never forgiven him. A memory of that has the power to shatter our laughter.
Or even a thought could come up of a fear about of the future, something like
Sure.
that. Yeah.
Therefore, any thought has the power to shatter my pleasure and increase my pain. If I expect that I have hurt someone or someone has hurt me, but if I am able to accept totally, no one did hurt me, because he couldn't have hurt me. I haven't hurt anybody, but even then I didn't have the power to hurt him. If he has been hurt, it's because it was his destiny to be hurt. If I have been hurt, it's my destiny to be hurt. No one can hurt me, I can't hurt anyone. So, Any questions?
No, just to say that by the will of God we have your wisdom. And thank you. This is the will of God that I thank you because you
Yes.
did the work. You did
Yes,
the work.
Yes, yes. But Gonzales, there is a catch in it. There is a catch in this. The acceptance is intellectually, Gonzales, intellectually, even a damn fool will accept this concept. Who wouldn't accept the concept which gives you this happiness? Even a damn fool will accept it. But the concept cannot work unless your acceptance is truly total. Unless you are able to take a lie detector test and succeed. Otherwise the concept cannot work. The acceptance has to be total. And since there is nothing you can do, then this total acceptance will happen only if it is supposed to happen, which is again God's will, cosmic law, your destiny. But there is a valid question. I have been a spiritual seeker for 30 years. I am so used to doing certain spiritual practices. Meditation, using a mala, uttering God's name, fasting on certain days, visiting a temple or church on certain days. What do I do about those practices? Valid question, isn't it? For 30 years I've been doing these practices. Now my experience also has been that they have not brought me the happiness I'm seeking. Now I know why. But knowing that, what do I do about these spiritual practices which I have followed for 30 years? Valid question, isn't it? What's the answer? What's the answer, Gonzales?
To drop all.
Very simple. I'm sorry?
Drop all. To drop everything because it doesn't have given anything to me. Why do I keep something that is not giving me nothing? So
but suppose you have enjoyed doing those practices, then why give up your pleasure? Suppose you have enjoyed doing those practices, because doing those practices has calmed your mind. Observing fast on certain days has made you give better health. Why give up those practices? Therefore the answer is, if you have liked during those practices, nothing to stop you from carrying on and enjoying them. But if you have been doing them because you have been forced to do them, you are free to give them up. You see really how simple it is. But there is another question which is quite valid, and that is, while I am waiting for something to happen, since I have given up the old practices because I didn't like them, is there not something I can do which may not make the happening quicker, but at least helps me to a certain extent to pass time? Valid question. So for that I do have an answer, and for that I call it personal investigation. Personal investigation of a particular action to find out whether it is your action or not. If you have the time during the day, you can do it anytime. But if you don't have time during the day, you are busy throughout the day, then at the end of the day, take 10 minutes off, sit quietly, go through the day's events, and you will be sure most of them it just happened. Most of the day's events were happening over which I had no control. But from those events, choose one event, one action which you are sure is your action. The other actions I don't know, but this one is my action. And I challenge anybody to prove to me that it is not my action. And that one single action you investigate. Again, very simple. If I consider this action as my action, did I decide to do that action at a particular time? Then you find you didn't. Then the investigation, if you did not decide to do that action, how did the action happen? And the answer will be, you had a thought, an idea had occurred, and that thought led to your action. If that thought had not happened, your action would not have happened. And you had no control at all over the happening of that thought. Why? Because no one knows what the next thought is going to be. No one has any control over what the thought is going to be. No one has any control over what the next action is going to be. If the thought had not happened, my action would not have happened, and I had no control over the happening. Therefore, that action which I was so sure is mine turns out on my own investigation not to be my action. So you have investigated this action yourself and come to the conclusion that the one action you were so sure turns out on your own investigation not to be your action. Then your acceptance becomes much deeper than only intellectual acceptance. And you take another action and another. And I assure you, every single action, without exception, 100% result, not my action, not my action. And each time the acceptance goes deeper and deeper. If I had not happened to be at a certain place and time and seen something, my action would not have happened. And I had no control over being at that place at that time, and more important, for something to happen which I happened to see. If I had not been at a certain place and time and happened to see something or hear something or smell something or taste something or touch something, my action would not have happened. And I have no control over the happening of that happening which I happen to see, hear, smell, taste or touch. Every single time you keep on coming to the not my action, not my action. The understanding will keep on going deeper and deeper and deeper until at a particular moment of time, depending on your destiny, God's will, cosmic law, a divine flash of total acceptance is likely to happen. I simply cannot be the doer. And then no more doubts will remain. And important to remember too, that this total acceptance can happen to anyone at any time, at any place, even without this flash. Again according to your destiny, God's will, cosmic law. Okay? Now, any question? Any questions?
It's my niece Alexis. She just arrived last night.
Yes, Murthy told me. Oh, she arrived last night?
No, the night before. Yeah.
Oh, so she did have a good night's sleep.
Yes. Yep.
Otherwise, I was about to say we must have been half asleep.
No, she got a good. She's good.
So what do you think? You heard it from the beginning. Do you still think do you not still think it's a stupid concept? Nice to hear it, but when I go...
But so you're saying that...
please, because it's being recorded.
That's a clever you want to record it.
Oh, that.
She said, because I'm so clever, you want to record it.
Okay. So you said from like when the baby's born to when it dies, something has already decided each path like its life's going to take.
I'm sorry?
Like from when the baby's born to when it dies, it's already decided if it's going to be happy or if it's
No.
God's already decided
no.
that.
Whatever is going to happen to that baby, all her life, from every moment, is already predetermined.
So if someone's in a bad situation, you're saying there's no point trying to intervene because their life has already been decided. Like there's no point trying to change them because if they're not meant to change, there's nothing you can do anyway. Or
Yes, but
or will God change His plan if He sees how upset you are about it?
according to me, the movie is already done and it's in the can. We are seeing it from frame by frame, but the movie is already in the can.
So there's no point trying to help people because
Is that in
that's
your
how
control?
they're meant to be anyway.
Is that in your control?
Well, no, according.
Why? For this reason. That's how I started. Your name is?
Sorry,
Your name is?
Alexis.
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 Yeah.
Alexis.
Yeah.
Look, that's where we started.
Yeah.
What is the basis of the daily living? You are facing a situation. In that situation, you can't know whether whatever you do will succeed or not. You cannot know.
Yeah, so I can't change someone else's future.
Whatever, in a given situation, the only thing anyone can do is to decide what you want in that situation and do it or not, or do something else. Therefore, deciding what you want in that situation and doing what is necessary is almost a natural happening through the body. When you are facing a situation, the energy inside this body, mind, organism starts working feverishly. The energy inside decides what do I want in this and how do I get it, and you do it. After you have done it, your experience will be that you can never know whether you will succeed or not succeed. Succeeding means pleasure, not succeeding means pain, over which you have no control.
Okay. But
That is the fact of life. Therefore,
you think, like how it's already decided, it won't change? Like,
no, on that my concept, that everything is already, the movie is already in the can, is my concept. But I can tell you that the greatest scientist, the greatest physicist and mathematician, Stephen Hawking, you have heard of him? Is a poor invalid in a wheelchair. He is such a great mathematician and scientist. He's gone on record to say everything is predetermined. He's gone on record. He's written an essay. He is everything predetermined ? In a book where there are other 13, 14, 15 essays. Question, is everything predetermined? He discusses the various aspects.
so if everything's predetermined and we know this now, what keeps us trying? Why don't we just give up? Because it's going to turn out anyway.
Because the energy inside this will make you act sometime. The energy inside will not let you be quiet. All you can do is stay in bed and say, why should I get up? Nothing is in my control. So it is in your power to stay in bed. But what will happen? You will be able to restrict the functioning of that energy in your body. but the energy will continue to work in your mind in such a feverish way that you will get up without knowing that you have got out of the bed.
Okay, so apart from getting myself out of bed, there's no point me trying to get someone else out of bed?
In that situation, if you find that you will, in that situation you want someone out of bed, you are free to do it. In any situation, you have exercised the total free will to do anything, subject to the consequences of your action.
I'm asking you.
Say it?
I'm asking you now, but it's got a drum puzzle.
Yeah.
It's already worked out. We can't change it.
Can't tell him that. But her brother's got a drug problem. And
Drug problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean no matter what, like my mum continually does,
No, wait a minute, yeah.
we can't stop him?
No.
Right?
No. Whether you can stop him or not has already been decided.
Yeah, so
So if it is decided that he will stop, don't you want him to stop?
yeah, but if it's already decided like that he'll stop or not, it has nothing to do with whether I try. Like whether I do anything or not, it's already decided whether I'm trying or not.
Yeah. But therefore, would you rather not do anything which might help him? Would you you read somewhere you can do this, it will help him. Oh, but I don't know, if it's not his destiny, well, why should I do? Will you do that, or will you still do?
I don't know, I was thinking more about my mum, because like, she continually tries and it does nothing, and all I see is her upset, so I'm thinking, why should she even try if it's going to end up? Like,
And that is the destiny of your brother and your mother.
And that's an example of the frustration that you're talking about. It's more frustration with her mother. Yeah.
So therefore, everything is predetermined, including the pain of the moment which your mother suffers. Whether the next moment brings me pain or pleasure,
so I shouldn't tell her to give up because it's already decided?
yes, but as I said, will she give up the chance of, if he did something, it would help. Is she prepared to give up that chance? Who will give up the chance of succeeding? You may succeed or you may not succeed. That is the point. You may succeed or you may not succeed. But would anyone choose to be a pessimist and not do something which she can do?
Maybe after 100 times of trying and not happening.
And then she may give it up. That will be the destiny. So the destiny will be to try 100 times and then give up, if that is to be the destiny.
And if she gives up, he can still stop because it's already predetermined.
And yet, in this case always I say, why be pessimistic? Why be pessimistic? There are plenty of people who have been able to give up drugs, alcohol. Many people who have given up. Many people who have not given up. So why be pessimistic? Why not try whatever is suggested to you? Why consider your glass half empty? Consider it half full. Why be pessimistic? Therefore, in any situation, no reason why you shouldn't do anything to improve yourself or improve any one of your relations, physically, mentally, temperamentally, or financially. You are free to do anything to improve yourself or anyone else. But with the total acceptance, whether you succeed or not has never been in anybody's control. All you can do is to try.
It's even like Hawking said, everything in that essay, he said everything is predetermined, but what is predetermined, nobody knows. So
You know what he's referring to?
Yeah.
The same. He said in essay, is everything predetermined question mark. He considers various aspects. Finally, in a 4-line conclusion, he concludes, is everything predetermined question mark? Yes, comma, full stop. Then he adds, but knowing this is not going to help you, because you will never know what it is that is predetermined. And when I read that, I said, Mr. Hawkins, much as I admire you, I do not accept that, because if I accept what you have said, that it is already predetermined, then I shall do whatever I feel it is necessary to be done, but will not waste my time thinking whether I will succeed or fail. Not thinking about the future, not getting worried about the result, means no tension. So accepting that it is already fulfilled, but I don't know what it is, and that is my destiny, I'll stop thinking about it. I'll stop thinking about the result after I've done whatever I felt is necessary. So it does help to bring peace of mind.
No more questions?
No.
But if any questions arise during the day, you are welcome to come again and we'll deal with them. Because you can't prevent questions arising during the day. So if they do, I suggest you write them down and we'll deal with them another day. Okay?
Okay.
शुरू करो. गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. नमो आदिरूपा ओंकार स्वरूपा विश्वाची रूपा माय बापा तुझी आसक्तीने तुझे गुण गाऊ तेने सुखी राहू सर्व काळा. तूची श्रोता तूची भक्ता ज्ञानासी अंजना सर्व होणे जाणे तुझ्या हाती. तुका म्हणे येथे नाही मी तूपणा स्वभावे ते कवणा कवणा लागी. नमो आदिरूपा ओंकार स्वरूपा विश्वाची रूपा माय बापा. ओंकार स्वरूपा सद्गुरु समर्था ओंकार स्वरूपा सद्गुरु समर्था. अनाथांच्या नाथा तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो. ओंकार स्वरूपा सद्गुरु समर्था अनाथांच्या नाथा तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो. नमो माय बापा गुरु कृपा घना तोडिया बंधना माया मोहा. नमो माय बापा गुरु कृपा घना तोडिया बंधना माया मोहा. मोह जाण माझे कोणली रशील तुझ वीण दयाळा सद्गुरुराया तुझ वीण दयाळा सद्गुरुराया तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो ओंकार स्वरूपा सद्गुरु समर्था अनाथांच्या नाथा तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो सद्गुरुराया माझा आनंद सागर त्रैलोक्य आधार गुरुरावा त्रैलोक्य आधार गुरुराव त्रैलोक्य आधार गुरुराव गुरुराज स्वामी असे स्वयं प्रकाश त्या पुढे उदास चंद्र रवी त्या पुढे उदास चंद्र रवी त्या पुढे उदास चंद्र रवी रवी शशी अग्नी निरतिजा रूपा स्वप्रकाश रूपा नेने वेद स्वप्रकाश रूपा नेने वेद स्वप्रकाश रूपा तुझ नमो तुझ नमो ओंकार स्वरूपा सद्गुरु समर्था अनाथांच्या नाथा तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो तुझ नमो एका जनार्दनी गुरु परब्रह्मा एका जनार्दनी गुरु परब्रह्मा तयाचे परिणाम सदामुखी तयाचे परिणाम सदामुखी तयाचे परिणाम सदामुखी ओंकार स्वरूपा सद्गुरु समर्था अनाथांच्या नाथा तुझ नमो 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 तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे सगुण निर्गुण एको गोविंदू रे एको गोविंदू रे तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे अनुमानेना अनुमानेना श्रुतीने तिने म्हणती गोविंदू रे श्रुतीने तिने म्हणती गोविंदू रे तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझ दृश्य म्हणो की अदृश्य रे तुझ दृश्य म्हणो की अदृश्य रे दृश्य दृश्य एक गोविंदू रे दृश्य अदृश्य एक गोविंदू रे तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे. तुझा आकार म्हणो की निराकारू रे. तुझा आकार म्हणो की निराकारू रे. आकारू निराकारू एक गोविंदू रे. आकारू निराकारू एक गोविंदू रे. तुझा सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे. तुझा सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे. तुझा स्थूल म्हणो की सूक्ष्म रे. तुझा स्थूल म्हणो की सूक्ष्म रे. स्थूल सूक्ष्म एक गोविंदू रे. स्थूल सूक्ष्म एक गोविंदू रे. तुझा सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे. तुझा सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे. निवृत्ती प्रसादे ज्ञानदेव बोले. ज्ञानदेव बोले. बापर कुमादेवी वरू विठ्ठलू रे. निवृत्ती प्रसादे ज्ञानदेव बोले. बापर कुमादेवी वरू विठ्ठलू रे. तुझा सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे. तुझा सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे. सगुण निर्गुण एको गोविंदू रे. एको गोविंदू रे. तुझा सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे. तुझा सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे. हे चिदान दे ग देवा तुझा विसरण व्हावा. विसरण व्हावा तुझा विसरण व्हावा. हे चिदान दे ग देवा तुझा विसरण व्हावा. विसरण व्हावा तुझा विसरण व्हावा. गुण गाईन आवडी हिची माझी सर्व जोडी. माझी सर्व जोडी हिची माझी सर्व जोडी. ना लागे मुक्ती धन संपदा. ना लागे मुक्ती धन संपदा. संत संग देई सदा. संत संग देई सदा. संत संग देई सदा. तुका म्हणे गर्भवासी सुखे घालावे आम्हासी. सुखे घालावे आम्हासी. सुखे घालावे आम्हासी. गुण गाईन आवडी हिची माझी सर्व जोडी. माझी सर्व जोडी हिची माझी सर्व जोडी. हिची दान दे ग देवा तुझा विसरण व्हावा. विसरण व्हावा तुझा विसरण व्हावा. हेची दान दे ग देवा तुझा विसरण व्हावा. विसरण व्हावा तुझा विसरण व्हावा. तुझे रूप चित्ती राहो मुखी तुझे नाम. तुझे रूप चित्ती राहो मुखी तुझे नाम. देह प्रपंचाचा दास सुखे करो काम. सुखे करो काम. तुझे रूप चित्ती राहो मुखी तुझे नाम. देहधारी जो त्याचे विहित नित्य कर्म. सदाचार सन्मार्गाचा आगळा न धर्म. देहधारी जो त्याचे विहित नित्य कर्म. सदाचार सन्मार्गाचा आगळा न धर्म. तुला आवडे ते हाती घडी नित्य कर्म तुला आवडे ते हाती घडी नित्य कर्म देह प्रपंचाचा दास सुखे करो काम सुखे करो काम तुझे रूप चित्ती राहो मुखी तुझे नाम तुझ्या पदी वाहिला मी देह भाव सारा पुढे अंतराळी आत्मा सोडूनी पसारा तुझ्या पदी वाहिला मी देह भाव सारा पुढे अंतराळी आत्मा सोडूनी पसारा नाम तुझे घेतो गोरा नाम तुझे घेतो गोरा होनी निष्कामा नाम तुझे घेतो गोरा होनी निष्कामा देह प्रपंचाचा दास सुखे करो काम सुखे करो काम तुझे रूप चित्ती राहो मुखी तुझे नाम तुझे रूप चित्ती राहो मुखी तुझे नाम पांडुरंग 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 पांडुरंग